As the mosquitoes start their activity for the day, my goal is to stretch this out as long as possible. This is the North Crestone Trail. Okay, the trailhead is back there by about 5 minutes. It's not as steep as Blanca. It's not as steep as the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon. It probably does get steeper later. Right, because this is on its way to 14,000 feet. But this is, for most people, walkable. I have a tough time with trails. And I'm not even wearing the best shoes, but I'm wearing, a shirt that my mother got me when she visited Texas. She's never been a fan of Colorado. And then I've got these rain pants on simply because they're not black to attract the mosquitoes less. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, it's definitely a workout, cardio-wise. I mean, that's an understatement, but there's a lot more going on with this sort of forest bathing. I'm actually very winded already, and my feet hurt badly. So, this is going to be a short sample. But I'm sure as it gets deeper in, it gets more beautiful. People park their cars and couples go, and they camp together, and they tent together, and they might be having sex together. Now, I've never had those experiences. I have camped with a woman that I knew once, but it's been a very, very long time. She got deep into the matrix, went to work for Microsoft. A lot of stories about women that I have known becoming big ticket earners, when in reality they had no morality and very little going on upstairs. But because things are changing, people are being treated like they're worth a lot when they're not. And then people that are worth a lot are being treated like they're nothing. It is a very important lesson to understand what's going on with role reversal. But continuing on the heels of what was discussed yesterday, the greatest lie that your culture ever sold you was that you're not responsible for your kids. How your kids turn out, things that happen to your kids, unfortunate things that happen to your kids. When they're not raised right, when they're not cared for, when they're denied housing and resources. When they're not told, when they're children, hey, you're not to bomb those people. You're not to then go out and do what they're telling you is okay on the video game system and the pornography website. So we have, in reality, a nation of failures. And they never tried in 22 years to tell their kids about me so they could have had a head start. They were always like, no, we're going to keep this like conspiracy knowledge to ourselves. No, we don't want to involve our child in this. All right. So this whole time that you parents were learning about 911, this whole time that these parents were learning about the dark side and concentration camps, they decided to keep that information to themselves. Interesting. So while on one hand, they'll be like, well, I got to figure out what's going on with this conspiracy theory thing. Let's just completely ignore the kid, give the kid some toys, some comic books. Hell, just give them some Call of Duty video games. Yeah, sit them in front of the modern WrestleMania, which is just absolutely disgusting. Take them to dance class. In fact, better make it pole dancing class. Nice little spot here to kick back. You like it? So what we need is a revolution in parenting. And what would that look like? What would a revolution in parenting look like? They would be stepping back, for one thing, from the public school system, obviously. they wouldn't be feeding them fast food and sugar. They would be a part of a village with other parents, okay? And they wouldn't be putting LGBT first, and they wouldn't be doing drag shows. They'd be teaching these kids to love other people. So I guess the word anti-racist has been abused, and I can't even really use it then, nor inclusive. These are marketing words. These aren't real words. These are fakes and phonies that surround me. And anytime you want to comment and say, hey, let's have some lunch, I'll show you what's real, then do it. But because you don't do it, I know that I'm right. And I'm going to get the respect of people by being right, by properly profiling this place and where you need to grow. You need to work on these new arm exercises to build up your biceps. You need to work on, for example, a metaphor, you need to hit it from this angle to build up that part of your back, as if I'm Noel Fuller. There you go. Or do you want me to lie to you? Oh yeah, you look sexy in a leotard. Leotards are sexy. Ballet is awesome. Those people look so sane. Hey, you look really good when you shove your face with cupcakes and you go, I'm a little princess, and you show me that 300-pound body as you call me fat. Talk about calling the kettle black. But I digress. What was that about? Somebody's going, you'd have to know the backstory. So what we have here, you know, and she wanted to, she had these fantasies, fantasies. She has fantasies about foster kids and getting rid of me before the foster kids came in so that she could mold them into what she wanted them to be. Same thing with me. That's not parenting. That's being a motherfucking fascist. Oh, we have two motherfucking fascists, too many fascists as parents right now that have an ego problem that just want to, spread their seed. They're not responsible like they need to be. People need to be responsible for their egg and their seed. It's a very simple concept. You don't just unleash a nuclear reactor running around on 2 legs, 3 legs, or 4 legs, snarling into the forest. That is irresponsible. You need to get your dogs under control. Because if you don't get your dogs under control, there's going to be consequences from the heavenly planes. And so you need to understand how the rest of the story goes in this never-ending story. People get wiped out, but they're not actually gone. They have every means of coming for you. This is not over. And they do it through the elemental forces. And so people need to understand that in order to protect your land, in order to protect your future grandchildren, and that is pretty ooga booga to just focus on your children. And it's like they're your property or something. You need to understand that thinking that you own something and not actually caring for it is archonic or archontic. It's demonic. To knowingly harm something that came out of you. And so we have a bunch of parents that are doing the secret society thing that are professional abusers, but they don't want to call out the darkness because it disrupts their ego. They can't handle that truth. They can't handle that light. So we have an epidemic now of mothers that have too much power that are straight up murdering their kids. And there's different ways to murder your kids. There's a way to do it with your, there's the way that people do it with their mouth. The way they insult their kids, say their kids are not right, or their kids need to be corrected. They just attack and attack and attack until their child's broken. And they think they have a right to do that simply because that form of life came out of them. Okay, that person isn't right in the head, and it is obvious to me that some humans come into the earth with an agenda to do harm to that which comes out of them. And then we could think tank, whatever is going on with them. And especially when you're dealing with people that do that, when they were not abused as children, when they were sent to the Royal Academy or whatever, so they can do whatever and whoever they want when they were 16 years old. You have actually people that have been broken simply by being told that they were princesses, that they were royals. So this system broke a lot of people that actually weren't molested. They're just angry that they don't currently have the throne. That's what we have to watch out for. these fascists that live amongst us, that are too happy and too comfortable with the way things are, these women that love Facebook, despite the fact that Facebook is setting up these families for murder. They love Facebook. Somebody will tell me they love Facebook after I tell this woman what Facebook did to these people. They don't care because they hate Aziz. What kind of shit is that? Who cares if you hate Aziz? Unless that's just naturally how you and your family always were and always are going to be. And being that there's nobody from that family that ever talks to me, there's obviously something alien and demonic about them and whoever Bruce Nagel is right now. He's busy making meth in the other world. Hey, you know what? He deserves a BMW. He deserves it all. No, the dude should have been living in the streets. That would have been a blessing, Mom. If some of you actually had to be humble early on, you would have changed your behaviors and said, sorry. That's what you don't understand. That's what you don't understand. You have been damaged by money, Dad's money. And it's a metaphor for America being damaged too, by being spoiled. Some people are just angry that they have to share space with other people. So that's your lesson. That's your homework lesson. That is your spirituality. Can you start to treat people as an equal? Because you don't have to start with the whole world. You start with me. And that's how we're going to do this. Until I draw my last dying breath. We're going to start with you respecting me. Okay, and treating me like a human being. Right now, it's just a message in the bottle from God knows where, Mr. Homeless, crazy ethnic guy who didn't shave his face today. Well, tough shit. Tough shit. The gloves are coming off. And I'll tell you what, nobody's beautiful to me on the outside. To nobody beautiful on the outside who isn't going to talk to me, who is part of the regular matrix, is not someone that I'm going to seek to approach right now or fixate on. Fantasy is fantasy. Nobody's perfect. But the signs are even there to return to not even having the fantasies anymore about these people. Okay? They're incubators of the New World Order. Unless they choose to activate themselves, get an education, right? And stop the madness, stop the war, stop the genocide. This actually is a part of a longer cycle of bad ancestor behavior. They like to come in and possess their peoples, which is why they want to have a lot of peoples for future conflicts. They want to keep this going. That's why they're afraid of losing numbers. They don't want to lose control. Well, you're going to lose control because you're going to lose your grid. And whether it comes tonight, whether it comes tomorrow, or whether it comes when I pass, it's going to go down. And this is the nightmare of Stefan Burns. This is the nightmare of these guys that run the soil research community, that are afraid of their structures tumbling down, which is why they do not talk about what's happening right now in the world, which is what? Lynchings. Mobs of white people are hurting people of color right fucking now in Europe, while these white people here have community. And the one guy who's roaming around by himself in many cases, he's the one who is different. They'll make it about, oh, you're too intense. The intensity, the energy, the race, while you're going to try to separate it, you'll never be able to lie to a psychic. It's a one holistic system. The energy is the race, is the ethnicity, numbnuts. Your world is out of control with alien veneration. And, you know, it may actually be too late for some of you. But for those of you that will continue watching and continue learning, God bless you. Go ahead and hit a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'll be back with more Gnostic information on what's taking place.